This module is for potato store staff, delivery drivers, contractors and their supervisors, managers, directors and owners.
Working in and around potato stores creates special risks that may not be immediately obvious. This DVD contains guidance on good practice that will help make you aware of the main risks and show you how these risks can be controlled. Not all risks can be or need to be eliminated completely, but they can be controlled to reduce the chance of serious injury to you and your workers. Remember, good health and good safety is good business.
The module is designed for supervised individual or group use and is a single version for all users. The testing of understanding should be supervised by the session leader, who should keep all training records. Please use the on-screen navigation aids. The hazards in potato storage include access and working at heights, moving vehicles and machinery, electricity in damp conditions, and low lighting. The risks are increased by lone working, sometimes in remote locations under cold conditions. The working conditions, equipment, and procedures should be covered by control measures driven by formal risk assessments. Safe behaviour should be encouraged by safe environments, realistic job descriptions, and sensible productivity demands. Correct storage will minimise crop losses and maximise the quality of the potatoes from store. Extensive advisory and information support services are available from the Potato Council, Sutton Bridge. Potato storage sites and buildings should be properly designed, constructed and maintained. They should be secure against unauthorised entry and display the appropriate signage. Formal procedures based on risk assessment should be devised which allow other persons to communicate with or check in with the lone storage site worker. If mobile phone, radio or tracker systems are used, they must be able to operate within the site buildings. CCTV, manual log in and out of buildings, and known location and task schedules are examples of risk reduction procedures. To avoid slips, trips and falls, sites, buildings and approaches should be kept clean and clear of debris. Machinery, power cables, etc. should be safely positioned or stored to avoid accidents. Although potato storage requires darkness, there must be adequate lighting available when working in stores to enable safe operations. Personal portable lamps should be provided in case of fixed lighting failure. Personal protective equipment may be used to reduce risks only when all other control solutions have been formally investigated and are impractical. PPE in potato stores can include safety boots, warm clothing, gloves, high visibility jackets, dust masks, eye, head and ear protection. PPE must be of the correct specification and fit. It should be stored, used and maintained properly. Workers must cooperate in using PPE and managers must ensure that this is so. Potatoes take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Under certain conditions, carbon dioxide can accumulate at ground level to harmful levels. Engine-driven machinery such as forklifts give off dangerous carbon monoxide in their exhaust. Adequate ventilation can reduce these risks. Controlled fresh air vents may be needed in sealed stores. Potato stores are cool, damp environments, and this increases the risk from electrical supplies and equipment. All installations, cables and devices should be of the correct standards, properly installed, inspected and maintained by competent persons. Store workers should be trained in the correct use of electrical equipment. Particular care should be taken over the positioning and condition of trailing cables to protect them from damage. The use of chemicals in potato stores should be undertaken by trained and properly equipped persons. If a building has been treated, access must be controlled and notices clearly displayed. The site management has final responsibility even when specialist contractors have been employed. The risk of accidents with machinery during loading, storage and unloading of potatoes on storage sites is increased by the frequency of lone working in cold, low-light environments. All machinery should be of the correct specification, safe by design and manufacture. It should be inspected and maintained by competent persons with special attention to safety devices. Workers must be trained on the proper use of machinery. Vehicle movements in and around stores are significant dangers. The procedures for loading and unloading stores should be clearly understood by all workers and potato transport drivers. High visibility jackets should always be worn. Lights, warning beacons and horns can reduce risks in the low light areas. Forklifts should be suitable for the task, well maintained and thoroughly examined by competent persons at regular intervals. All forklift drivers should be adequately trained. Manual handling causes a large number of injuries, and the risks can be reduced by proper training and handling procedures. Formal risk assessments should establish the correct handling methods to be used in potato stores. Collecting samples is a common handling requirement and may need help for lone workers. Potato boxes must be of the correct specifications. The box code should be understood and acted upon. BS 7611 is the design and manufacture standard in the UK. Classes 4, 6 or 8 are the strength classes that show maximum stacking heights and strengths for lifting and tipping. Size A to F are the box size codes. Potato storage boxes are subject to hard use. Their condition should be monitored, and if repaired, this should be to a standard that gives them back their original strength. Unrepairable boxes should be taken out of service. Boxes should be stacked in blocks for stability in areas that are safe and secure and sheltered. The risks of fires in box stacks and damage to buildings should be considered and controlled. Delivery drivers must follow site procedures and should be reversed with assistance from a safe position with understood signals. Forklift operations should be undertaken by trained workers using vehicles rated for the box lifting activities. The reduced visibility caused by the load and the low light in the store are particular issues. Lorry drivers should be in a safe position during unloading. Stacking must never exceed the box specification height or mix box sizes. Stacking patterns should aim for the maximum stability but allow for ventilation and access systems. Access to boxes is necessary for inspection and sampling of the potatoes. Lone working, cold, damp and low light conditions all increase the risk of access accidents. A safe means of access, such as fixed ladders on stepped boxes, must be provided. Freestanding ladders must not be used. Powered access equipment such as scissor lifts may provide alternative access solutions. If used, they must be of the correct specification, inspected, maintained and used by trained workers. Accidents while working at heights are a major cause of deaths and injuries in agriculture. Box stack top edges should be provided with indications of the danger, such as warning signs and barrier tapes. Restraint harness and fall prevention systems are also available. Gaps between box stacks that exceed 200 mm for ventilation purposes must be boarded during access. Lorries arriving and loading do so under the storage site rules and procedures. These should be understood by all involved. Storage site workers are responsible for loading vehicles, but the lorry driver is responsible for seeing that the load is correctly distributed, tight packed and secure for the road. Boxes must be positioned in close contact with each other and the headboard. Total load and individual axle weights must not be exceeded. The lorry driver should supervise the loading from a safe position. After the load has been secured and the curtains drawn, any documentation must be completed before departure. When box loads are used to fill bulkers directly or via a conveyor, suitable box lifting and tipping attachments adjusted to the box size should be used. These must be appropriate to the class of box being used. Care must be taken to minimise damage or bruising of the potatoes during tipping. The lorry driver is responsible for ensuring that the lorry is not overloaded and that the load is secure. Reversing lorries should be guided into position from a safe location using understood signals. Unloading operations are under storage site rules and procedures which should be understood by all involved. The driver is responsible for regulating the self-unloading system of their vehicle. Whatever system is used to load the potatoes, operators must be in safe positions and sufficient lighting should be available. Potato handling should minimise the risk of damage or bruising to the crop. Power supply cables are at particular risk of damage and should be suitably positioned and protected. It may be appropriate to mark the top edge of the potato pile with tape and signs. Access to ventilation ducts must be subject to formal risk assessment. Power supplies to fans should be manually locked out or fitted with an automatic safety interlock. Lighting and air quality in the duct space are key issues, particularly when lone working is involved. Bulk loading from store must ensure that lorry weight limits are not exceeded and that potato damage and bruising are minimised. It is the driver's responsibility to ensure that the bulker is checked for debris before loading and secured for the road afterwards.